Hi there, this is Shauna from the Foiled Fox, and today I'm doing a fun and easy Mother's Day card where you can use any simple flower stamp you might have. I'm going to be using the Neat Tangled Scandinavian Prints stamp, which was so popular. It has some really nice centers to it. I'll use 3 of them plus the little leaf, and then I'll also use the Whimsy stamp hand-stitched frames. I'm going to cut that with the hot press watercolor paper. Now you can use cold press if you'd like, but I like the hot press because it's a little smoother. I prep it with the anti-static powder, and then I'm stamping it with the large center first, and I'm just putting that on randomly. And then I'm going to go with the next middle size. And I pick it up every so often so that I can get an idea in the reflection just to where I've been. But another way you can do that is to every so often sprinkle it with embossing powder, heat emboss it, and then go on to stamp. And you'll see that I will do that here in just a minute. I'm using the white pearl, it's white pearl satin, sorry. By Hero Arts. It's a really nice embossing powder because it's white, but it's also got a little bit of sheen, silvery sheen to it. It's very nice. And so I'm going to heat emboss this just to get an idea where I'm at, and then I'm going to add a few more. So here I'm just adding a few more of those now that I can see more clearly where I'm at. And then I'm also going to be adding in the flowers, the leaves after this gets all printed. Now you can see I edited out putting in the leaves, but I heat embossed it, you can see that. Sorry I did that. But now I'm using some distress inks. They're either oxide or they're regular. They are at the top starting with picked raspberry, candied apple, then worn lipstick and tattered rose, wild honey, and antique linen, cracked pistachio, and peeled paint. Now you can see all the supplies you will use are on our blog, and there's a link to that down below. So I'm starting with the wild honey, and I blend that a little bit with the worn lipstick just to warm it up a little bit, and then I'll use the worn lipstick on the outer edge. And then once those large flowers are done, I'm going to go on to the smallest ones, and I'm going to be using the candied apple and the picked raspberry. I don't know why I always have trouble saying that. And that way it gives you a brighter color. Then once those are all done, then I'm going to go on to the final flower. And that one I'm going to blend the wild honey and the worn lipstick and a little bit of that tattered rose. And that gives you a nice peach color. So now you have kind of 3 tones of flowers there to give some interest. I'm going to color those all in, and again, just making round, whimsical kind of shapes, not being too precise about it. Then after these are all finished, we're going to go on to those leaves. I'm going to start out with the peeled paint. This is that greener color, and then of course the cracked pistachio has more blue in it. So I'm going to do all of the peeled paint first, and then I'll go on with the cracked pistachio. Let me speed this up a bit so that you don't have to watch every little leaf being painstakingly painted in. And again, I'm not being real precise. That's the kind of the fun thing about this. This is a little bit more of a random kind of background. Now with that all done, now I'm going to take some black soot and I'm going to make my brush real juicy, really watery, and mix it in with the black soot, and I'm going to just sprinkle lightly some black splatters, making some a little bit darker just to give a little bit of that black accent. I wanted to add some black because I'm going to have a sentiment that's going to be on black cardstock. I had off camera, I had painted a few flowers and some leaves, stamped them and painted them just like we did before so that I could add those on as dimensional pieces. Once that's all completed, then we'll go on to stamping the sentiment. The sentiment is taken from the Altenew Wild Hibiscus. There's the best mom in the world. I thought that was a great sentiment, and I'm going to stamp it on a strip of licorice twist cardstock, which is a really nice black and heavy cardstock, and sprinkling that with white embossing powder. This is Hero Arts embossing powder. I really like their embossing powder. It covers very nicely. And then I'm going to heat emboss that. As soon as that's finished, then we're going to get all of our pieces together so we have everything ready. There's my white card base, and then the robin's egg card panel that's just slightly smaller than the card base, but bigger than the flower panel. So I'm going to apply that to the top, and then now the floral panel. I have a white cat, so you can see that I kind of fiddle with those edges because I want to make sure that there aren't any of her beautiful white furs on my card. Next, I'm going to add the sentiment. Each of these have the dimensional tape on the back so they can pop up, and then applied the sentiment and then the flowers and the leaves. And as usual, I'm just kind of moving them here and there so that I can get where I want them to be, and I can never do it right out of the chute. I always have to move them around a bit. And now that that's finished, I took some mind's eye enamel dots, black enamel dots, it's hard for me to say today, and applying them in a few different places. Again, just giving a little bit more of a tie-in with that black, and I like contrast, and so it really makes everything kind of pop. And now that that's nearly finished, I think I'm going to add one more there. And then I decided I'm going to do something on the inside. You certainly don't have to do this. It was just kind of a fun last minute thing where I stamped the 3 flowers with the Versamark, going to heat emboss it, and then with a fairly dry brush, not one that has a lot of water on it, I'm going to use those same colors that I had painted the flowers on the front with. So that's going to be the kind of golden center, the pink exterior with the worn lipstick and tattered rose, and then the small picked raspberry with the candy apple, and then the combination of the worn lipstick, tattered rose, and a little bit of the wild honey. I'm going to dry that so that I don't mess up my card after I've gotten it all done. And I'm going to stamp those leaves just like I did in the front. So you can see, I cut that out before, now you can see how I did it. And I'm going to heat emboss that and then color those in, again using the peeled paint and the cracked pistachio. And once that's all dry, I'm going to make sure I do dry it because I don't want to have a smudge in the front. Then the card is all done. I really like how cheery it is, and then we have these fun flowers on the inside. It's just a whimsical card. It's an easy one for you to do. I hope you enjoyed the project. I'm glad you visited us. If you enjoyed it, please give us a thumbs up and please subscribe. And remember that we have a complete supply list and other fun things on the blog. There's a link down below. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye.